Hey folks, David Stewart here. Time for your daily trending to close out the 4th of June 2020. So big story today is a couple of officers were marching forward. I'm not going to show this video because it's a little too graphic, but the officers were marching forward and got confronted by a 75-year-old man and ended up pushing him over, and he hit his head, and there was like profuse bleeding, and it's really gross. The officers have been suspended. It's going to cover up pretty much all of this stuff at the top of the trending. And this is one of the things that you get is like there's 20 different hashtags that are all basically describing the same exact event. And so that's basically what happened. And you can look up the video yourself. I'm not going to show it here because it's a little too graphic to show on YouTube and actually have a chance of getting a video like this monetized. Most of these are not monetized, by the way, because of what's going on. Now, here's another interesting one. The Third Amendment. Everyone thinks they know what the Third Amendment means because I just heard that Mayor Bowser is kicking the Utah National Guard out of all D.C. hotels tomorrow. More than 1,200 troops from 10 states are being evicted. This is unacceptable. Now, here's the problem, right? I'm going to just show you the Third Amendment. No soldier shall, in time of peace, be quartered in any house without the consent of the owner, nor in time of war, but in a manner to be prescribed by law, meaning in a time of war if they make a specific law to do that. So we're not at a time of war constitutionally, obviously. So without the consent of the owner is the big one. So the mayor does not have a constitutional right to evict anyone. He can't unilaterally do that. That's to deny the property rights of the hotel owners. These aren't private homes either. These are hotels. And presumably they purchased the right to stay in those hotels, meaning they wouldn't actually be able to be evicted. Now, where they're going to put them, I'm sure that there are military facilities where they can quarter them for some amount of time all around the Washington, D.C. area. But this is really hilarious, the number of people that think they know anything about the Third Amendment and apparently can't read. Third Amendment is almost never used because we don't ever try to quarter soldiers in people's homes. This is something that was like a problem with the British, but there's in no way, shape, or form does this apply. Like buying a hotel room does not mean that you're being forced to quarter soldiers. It's absolute nonsense. So that's another typical Twitter thing is a bunch of people think that the Constitution means one thing, but they can't bother to look at the exact words to know what it means. QAnon was trending with this really weird spelling and some Zalgo text in a bunch of places. If you guys don't know what Zalgo text is, this is just a bunch of supertext and subtext items attached to letters to make them go up and down off of a normal space where you'd put it. There's really nothing to see here. Somebody was tweeting about QAnon, and so the people that think that that's a thing and don't like it started tweeting noise to try to drown it out. This is a thing that happens on Twitter so that you can't use the hashtag, but I don't think that really matters that much. It's not really worth the time to even think about, in my opinion. Now, unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to do this earlier, but there was one thing trending, and I really wanted to take some time to talk some shit on it, and that's PitMad. So Project Veritas is the only person complaining about this. I'm guessing a bunch of authors and agents coordinated to make this trend earlier in the day. I just couldn't record the video then. So Expose Antifa's trending at 27, while PitMad is at number 1 with 46,000. This was 16 hours ago. So what PitMad is it's pitching. It's pitching ideas from writers to agents. And I don't want to get too deep into all of the bullshit that goes in there. But basically, this is people saying a log line, what's called a log line, which is a very, very short and brief description of a story designed to immediately get somebody the general gist of what the story is doing. Like if you said Star Wars, but with Muppets, it would be Muppet Star Wars. But, if it was like Star Wars, but under the ocean, Star Wars, but in submarines, right? Oh, can you have a general idea of what kind of movie you're talking about? Here's the thing about pitches and trying to pitch to agents. Your ideas, this is something that amateur authors think a lot. And I'm using the word amateur here. I never want people to call themselves amateurs. You can be a new writer, like you're new to the craft. Being an amateur just It's just degrading yourself and acquiescing to failure, basically. But amateurs, and I'm using that one specifically, they think the idea, the specialness of the idea they have is more important than the execution. And the reality is, whether you're writing a book, making a movie, or anything else, the execution is about 100 times more important than the idea. The truth is, your idea is probably not as original as you think it is. And even if it is original, that doesn't mean that it's good or will pass any kind of test, nor that it can be executed correctly. What makes a product successful, especially a book, is the fact that it is well written, that it interests readers, that it keeps their attention, that it moves them. Really interesting ideas. First of all, they're not that interesting, but they don't make a book. Until you have written the book and it's out there and people can read it, the ideas don't mean anything. None of this, it's just a bunch of people pretending to be writers and agents pretending to be able to actually do anything for clients. If you don't know the way the agent system works, is most publishers won't talk to you directly if you want a book. So you have to go through an agent who just takes 15% of your earnings in order to talk to somebody they went to grad school with that works at the publishing house. So yeah, I could talk to them. And that's the way the industry's set up. It just 15% bilking in order to go through an agent. And half the people who claim to be agents really aren't agents and don't really do any work. So very much beware of agents. If you're looking for an agent, try to find an agent that a writer you know of is represented by and has been published with that agent. That's going to be a stamp of approval. So it's a big pretense game. It's really stupid. It's a waste of your time, just like the am writing hashtags. There's really no reason to bother with PitMad. If you think you have a great idea and it's a great idea, you need to write the book. And until you've written the book, you're not a writer. You're just somebody with story ideas. And I'd have people call me years ago and with like pitching ideas at me, like, oh yeah, you could write the book on this idea and like we'll split the royalties. I'm like, dude, your idea's not that special, but I'm also not doing all the work. The work is writing the screenplay or writing the book. That's the actual work. It's really all about, like, see, Black Panther, ex-American gods. Every 30 years, a new generation of powerful African gods arise. Every 30 years, they are brutally put down. It's happening now. And Zoni, the reincarnation of the goddess of war and death, isn't going without a fight. Now, this isn't special. That's not a special story. This is a standard kind of fantasy story. But you have some ethnic stuff mixed into it. That's what would make it, I guess, interesting to an agent. But the truth is, until you write the book, it doesn't mean anything. And if you write the book and it's poorly executed, then the greatness of the idea doesn't mean anything either. So anyway, that's PitMad. I thought I'd take a few minutes and just talk some crap on that. The rest of the trending stuff, there's just not really that much to talk about. Okay, so thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what you want to see and hear in the future. I do appreciate it, and I'll try to continue this series as long as I have a few minutes to talk about this kind of stuff. So thanks so much, and I'll see you guys next time.